All right, Mayor.
Huh?
Okay, we're good.
Okay, okay.
He's online.
He's on. Because it's.
CBA meeting on March 19th, right? I'm sorry, earlier, but I can be there. Okay. Yeah, thanks.
We'll get started in a minute. Everybody, I'm just looking for something before I get started. Save to the desktop. Okay, everyone, welcome. Sorry for that little delay. We are going to begin the City of Cedarburg meeting of the Common Council at 7:02 PM on March 9th. Roll call, everyone is here with Councilmember Simpson online. Could we rise for a moment of silence, please? Okay, turn to the flag for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
just for republicly noticed.
Yes.
Thank you. This is a time where everybody knows that if someone in the audience would like to make a comment or a statement regarding something that's not an agenda item, you're welcome to do that. We'll give you a couple minutes. Just give your name and address at the podium. If there's something that you'd like to speak to that is on the agenda, just make certain that during the agenda item after we've talked, you catch my attention so I don't. Anybody out there? Non-agenda item? Okay, we'll keep going. Thank you. We are going to a public hearing, which is 7A, public hearing, discussion and possible action on ordinance 2026 -7, amending section 13-1-122 of the city code, modifying and expanding upon the architectural review principles, standards, and procedures. Were we publicly noticed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to declare the hearing open, the public hearing open. I'm going to ask our city planner, Mary Sensky, to introduce the item.
I think we're on, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, back in October, when the Plan Commission handed over the comprehensive plan and it was adopted by the Common Council, October of 2025, among the chapters in that section that was updated include the housing and the land use chapters. But within that housing section specifically, and it came up again in land use, we had some references in there, things that the Plan Commission had held to be very important, and they set them up as goals and objectives, strategic plans for how we should proceed with new housing in the city of Cedarburg. And to that end, they established the following goals. The city should have clear code-based provisions intended to preserve and improve the quality and integrity of existing residential neighborhoods. And we should require architectural theme and design detail information be made a part of new housing development applications to ensure that certain unique architectural and building site design characteristics that are characteristic of historic Cedarburg are referenced going forward in new house designs. So with those goals in mind, in June of 2025, the Site and Architectural Review Board was created, and they were tasked with the responsibility of preserving the city's historic character, promoting high-quality architectural design, and maintaining a cohesive built environment. It was also set forth in their purpose statement that they would periodically review the design and architectural standards of the city code and recommend changes if and as needed. So back in August of last year, the Site and Architectural Review Board began to do exactly that. They took Article F of the city's zoning code, which is architectural, site and architectural design and review standards, and immediately got to work evaluating specifically the residential design guidelines. And they took a look at what some neighboring communities are doing, what some more distant communities have done with respect to setting up. And you'll find this will come through in the language that I'm going to talk to you about. But some of these things are compulsory by the way that they're written. Some of them are clearly a guideline by the way they're written. Some are encouraged. So you have to really kind of track the way the language is written very specifically to understand whether these are things that are shall, may, or must, for instance. But you received a copy of Article F in your packets. The entire article is not being updated. Regrettably, just the section that we're working on, which is 122.5, didn't get highlighted. So if you look at page 4 of 9 in that packet section, we're talking about architectural guidelines specific to all residential buildings. And everything listed under this is new, okay? We have had in the preceding section these very general, kind of broad brush statements about how architecture should look and feel in the city of Cedarburg. And now the idea is to get much more specific, to have a true benchmark to measure each plan against. So I'm going to just run through these quickly. A, all elevations of the principal structure and any accessory buildings on that same have to have a cohesive relationship among the materials, colors, and the architectural style. B, every individual building with changes, all materials, colors, and design details have to be made, changes in those have to be made at appropriate transition points to avoid abrupt aesthetic impacts. So that means, for instance, inside corners or separate floors, gable ends, these kind of things can be treated with different materials. C, designs should be unique and timeless, intended to prevent both inter and intra subdivision or neighborhood monotony, and also to prevent conspicuous departures from the established residential theme of the area. D, sizable, targeting 10-foot by 10-foot minimum to accommodate perhaps 4 chairs and a small table. 10-foot by 10-foot covered front street-facing porches are strongly encouraged. Okay, not a must, not a shall, but it's a strongly encouraged. E, garages will not dominate the primary facade of a residence. Preferred garage entrance designs would be the side load, the canted, the courtyard, that style of garage placement, or the garages could be placed to the rear of the home. A front porch entry garage can be permitted with up to 2 single stall doors not exceeding 10 by 8 feet in height, or 1 double stall door not to exceed 16 feet by 8 foot height, with care being given to create a design that de-emphasizes that garage forward element. And in the case of front entry garage doors, they have to be set back at least 6 feet further than the frontmost portion of the principal structure. So if there's a front porch, you need to be 6 feet behind the front end of that front porch. And then we say with front entry garages, the doors have to be of a decorative design, something with architectural interest that complements the home in particular. F, vertical and horizontal articulation and window treatment is required to break up lengthy wall planes. G, repetition of identical or nearly identical front facade elevations within 1,000 feet of one another. In neighborhoods where there's 1 or fewer builders, for instance, and we've seen those and we're going to see them coming forward, again, the city's going to want to see all of those proposed plans and how they're to ensure we don't get redundant home designs, you know, 1 or 2 doors away from the next same plan. H, color variations within a cohesive neighborhood palette are encouraged. Muted or historically appropriate color palettes are encouraged, while excessively bright, reflective, or high contrasting color schemes are not. Exterior building materials should be durable, high quality, and appropriate for long-term residential use. On front elevations, the materials such as brick, natural stone, natural fiber cement, wood engineered siding, and clear glass are preferred on the walls, paired with dimensional asphalt shingles or standing seam metal roofs. J, long uninterrupted wall planes on street-facing facades are prohibited. Blank facades on primary or secondary streets, secondary or street elevations are also prohibited. K, roof forms shall be consistent with traditional residential proportions and the neighborhood character. Overly complex roofs are not encouraged. Dormers, chimneys, and other roof fixtures should be proportionate to the structure itself and functionally integrated into the structure. The principal roof pitch, if it's not flat, meaning 212 or less, has got to be at least 612. L, well-proportioned roof overhangs contribute to the Cedarburg architectural character by casting consistent readable shadow lines. These shadows help define floor levels, window groupings, and building mass, creating a sense of depth and permanence. Shallow and minimal overhangs that fail to produce shadow relief will result in flat, visually weak facades and are therefore discouraged. M, shutters should be designed to be or appear as authentic and functional as possible. N, windows on the front facade, and for the most part throughout the rest of the building elevations, should be clear, transparent glass material. And O, to ensure significant additions or alterations to existing residential structures remain compatible with the architectural character and scale of city neighborhoods. Any addition or remodeling to an existing home that increases the total gross floor area of that house by more than 25%, or any significant changes to the building form or massing, meaning alterations that change the roof shape, the height, the principal facade orientation, things of that sort will be subject to plan review and recommendation by the Site and Architectural Review Board, with final action and decision on those plans by the Plan Commission prior to building permits being issued. So those are the changes that have been reviewed and recommended by the Site and Architectural Review Board, received, reviewed, and discussed by the Plan Commission, favorably recommended at this time to the Common Council. So I'll turn it over for your discussion. Thank you.
Actually, according to this. Thank you, Mary. The next thing I'm going to do, if anybody out there, wants to comment at all on what Mary has presented, you're welcome to take a couple minutes to do that. Okay. Then we're going to basically close the public hearing at this point in time. So I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
A motion, a second. Jess?
Okay, we will close the public hearing on a roll call vote. Councilmember Bitter.
Aye.
Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Burkhart.
Aye.
Didier.
Aye.
Simpson.
Aye.
Lindo.
Aye.
And Mueller. Thank you.
Thank you. Throw this back now to the commission. To the council. If anybody has a question of Mary or comments.
Mary, was that garage height changed? Was it 7 and now it's 8?
It was 7 feet. It came out of SARV at 7 feet.
Yes.
It went to the Plan Commission where a particular developer, whose covenants and restrictions reflect all these changes,
Okay.
made one appeal, and that was for the height of the garage doors to be 8 feet.
Mhm.
Given the size of vehicles that are out there today, in pretty common use at residences. And the Plan Commission agreed with that, and they did have an exchange. They're satisfied that the outcome is as aesthetically pleasing, if not better, actually.
Mhm.
So the commission suggested that change coming into this common council.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So on that topic, and admittedly, I should ask this at the plan commission level, but this reads as if 3-stall front-facing garages are no longer permissible.
Correct.
Is that, have we, I don't even know how to best phrase this follow-up question, is our practices going away from that? Is like, if this is if this is in one of these other layouts, they can still have a 3-stall garage, it just can't be forward facing.
Yeah, great example of that is the new house that was built on Western. They have what's called a canted garage.
Yeah.
So it's sitting
Yeah, I
at
know
just a
exactly.
little bit of
what
an
you're
angle.
talking about.
So that's not considered a front facing, it's a canted load, and they have a 3-stall garage, so that would comply.
I think theirs is actually 4, because don't they have a single,
okay.
double, single?
That was 3, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Yeah,
Any other questions or comments? Oh, sorry, any other questions or comments? Does anybody want to make a motion to, oh, no, you don't, never mind. Just a second. Yes, I do want a motion.
I was gonna say, what did we
I'm
miss?
so attached to this piece of paper. It's ridiculous.
Well, I'll make a motion to, I just want to get back to Mary's notes. I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2026-07, which is amending section 13-122 of the city code. I'll stop there.
We got a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
No one's opposed? Mary, thank you. I mean, truly, thank you. That was a lot of work on everyone's part, and yours in particular, so thank you. We're gonna go to 8A, and we're gonna have a presentation by the Cedarburg Fire Department on fire apparatus fleets review, and I think Joey Hintz is gonna take this tonight.
Good evening. Chief Oschultz is unable to make it here tonight, so I will be representing the Cedarburg Fire Department. Chief Oschultz and the Cedarburg Fire Department would like to thank the mayor and the common council for allowing us to have this fleet study done. It definitely is going to help us in finding ways to improve our department and make our fleet more streamlined and more effective in the uses that we need them for in the current fire service that is going on nowadays. After the common council gave the go-ahead to have the fleet study done, we were luckily able to find the company Emergency Vehicle Response. They were there every single time we called them. They were answering all of our questions, and obviously they had a lot of questions on their end as well with all the information we had to compile. A lot of data went into this. A lot of our members put a lot of time in compiling information that they requested, which shows a lot within our own department of tracking all this information. So a lot of thank yous to the members of our department to get us to this point. Now I'd like to have Mike come up, Mike Wilbur. Mike and Nick are the two that have been working with us through Emergency Vehicle Response and doing this fleet study. So they're nationally known with Fire Apparatus Magazine, and Nick does podcasts for firefighters as well. So they're a wealth of knowledge for us. And we've, like we'll talk about here in a little while, things that we've already started to implement within our department. So, Mike?
Thank you, Chief. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having Nick and I here and having us in and do this important work. Just as a quick aside, my wife and I, we celebrated our 42nd wedding anniversary this weekend, and we celebrated it here in Cedarburg, and we fell in love with the place. You have an amazing city. We really enjoyed ourselves. So thank you for that. Everybody is kind and really wonderful. And one other note, I'm really proud today. My son Nick got promoted this morning to lieutenant in the Arlington Fire Company, continuing our family tradition. So I'm proud of him for that and his new promotion. So with that said, let's get on to the business at hand. What I'm going to do is I'm working out of the report that you should have all read or had or something. We're going to start with kind of an overview of what went on. We were here for several days of field work. We asked the fire department for infinite amount of data, which they supplied, which is, you'd say, oh, that's no big deal. It is. We've had people come with milk crates and dump them out, and that's our stuff. So the record keeping here was done well, and a credit to the fire department. Deputy Chief Johans has done just absolutely yeoman's work since we've been in here in rectifying some of the deficiencies that we pointed out. He's going across the country to the East Coast, looking at trucks. He has worked tirelessly for this city and is a true firefighter and a good representative for you and your city. He has done an amazing amount of work that frankly, he probably didn't get compensated for, but that's okay. He is a good man, and you're lucky to have him in your fire department. The Cedarburg Fire Department has provided this city with fire trucks for free forever. The city fire department has provided volunteer labor forever. Unfortunately, both of those are going to come to an abrupt end. The cost of a new engine right now at $1.2 million, a new engine tanker at $1.5 million, an aerial apparatus from $2.5 million up to $3.2 million. The firefighters in this community simply can't run enough fair days to make that kind of money to keep buying your fire trucks. There are two, what I would consider shocking revelations for both groups. One, you're going to have to start paying here for this, the city. And two, the sadness that they feel because they're not going to be able to provide that for you anymore because that's been a 150-year tradition. And so both of them are sad ends to really great cohesiveness in this community. But as we well know, things change, sometimes for the better, sometimes not for the better, but in this case, they've changed. And that is a methodology and it's just an unsustainable way to run the fire department anymore. And so unfortunately, you're going to have to pay for fire trucks here in this city, and you're going to probably have to pay for firefighters at some point more than you already are as volunteerism continues to dwindle. In my Keystone state of Pennsylvania, they did a staffing study in 1980. There were 376,000 volunteers in the Keystone state. A scant 50 years later, and it's less than 30,000. And the buildings didn't shrink, and neither did the towns. Volunteer firefighters are going to the way of dinosaurs. I've been one for 40 years. I don't think I'm a dinosaur yet, but I'm old. But that's the way the program is going. There's a whole bunch of socioeconomical reasons why it is what it is, but the reality is it is. The cost of fire trucks have literally doubled in the last 6 years. In fact, 3 fire truck companies are under federal review for potential price fixing activities. They're under congressional review in the DOJ. That's one facet of this. And then the delivery times. If you all decided tonight, man, I want to go buy a fire truck, you're waiting 48 to 54 months over 4 years. If you signed a contract tonight and said, this is what I want, exactly like this, it's 4 years at least. So that has to do with the rest of this. The vehicle of your heavy trucks is comprised mainly of older units with an average age of 20.25 years. A majority of these is comprised of units were acquired before 2009. with only 2 fire trucks being purchased since 2009, engine 163 and tender 164. 63 was in 2016 and the tender was in 2020. So because of the price of this stuff, because of the fundraising, because of a lot of outside things, this fleet of heavy trucks has not been replaced in a timely fashion. The NFPA 1900R standard making body in Battery March, Massachusetts states that fire apparatus should be kept 15 to 20 years in frontline service and 3 to 5 years as a reserve, and then cycled out of the fleet after 25 years. Your ladder truck here that was here when we first entered town was 37 years old. It was way past its useful life expectancy. Following NFPA 1900, much of the current fleet would need to be replaced immediately. That's neither physically possible, nor is it fiscally possible to replace their whole fleet, nor would it be very wise at all to do that. Most units here have severe rust and corrosion issues. I don't know what folks in Ohio and Wisconsin and Indiana put on your roads. I understand it's calcium chloride, beet juice, and sundry other things. Whatever it is, it's rotting the underside of the fire trucks out. So this fact is going to require some adjustments in vehicle purchasing and vehicle modifications to alleviate these conditions. The aerial tower should have been replaced at least a decade ago, and Brush 157 was placed out of service when we were here because it was morbidly overweight, and it wasn't safe to be on the road. Due to past practices, the fire department has fallen significantly behind maintaining its fleet. The condition of the current fleet is going to require immediate and decisive action. This will require both purchasing new and used apparatus. Recommendations from emergency vehicle response that require immediate and decisive action are the following. The overweight brush truck was immediately taken out of service. The fire department immediately worked with a local dealership to order a chassis to take the brush skid unit that's on the current unit to transfer it over to that. And it's my understanding that that truck is going to be disposed of with the city, and it's going to find a second use that's more appropriate. The out-of-service 37-year-old ladder truck, again, due to Chief Hins and his dad came out to the East Coast, we were able to find a suitable ladder for this city at an initial purchase price of $120,000. That represents a significant cost avoidance for the city and the taxpayers in this community. This truck is meant to buy you 5 years. 5 years time so you can get your financial house in order and get ready for the purchase of the first new truck in Cedarburg that will arrive probably in 2030. Engine 161 was also found to be extraordinarily defective with a tear in the tank and the body and the rust underneath. Again, the fire department, in doing due diligence with one of their local vendors, came up with a price of about $400,000 to make this 18-year-old truck at least usable again. We found the city a used truck for $130,000 with all the stuff that was done to it. It's in the city now. It's being readied for service. That was a cost avoidance to city taxpayers of, $270,000 that we were able to do. So the fire department is working very hard on the taxpayers and the city to be fiscally prudent, and I'm certainly fiscally conservative in this plan that we put before you to consider. Between buying the used engine and the used truck, you save probably the better part of $500,000, if not more. The truck is meant for 5 years. The engine is going to be in the fleet until I think 2034. We'll get to that in a few minutes. These recommendations needed to be implemented immediately, and they were. And so much credit should go to the fire department for reading this, taking it, and acting upon it on behalf of the citizens and the city council. So you have an engine, you have a truck, the brush truck. So all those deficiencies have been remedied under the leadership of the fire chief and the deputy chief. Tires. Tires are meant to be kept on fire trucks for 7 years. That's an industry standard. I came and found a whole lot of tires that were way older than that. And so the fire department, again, has done a good job of replacing those tires and making those trucks roadworthy on your behalf. So some key observations we found. When we found the brush truck to be overweight, and like we said, that has been remedied, but this was a symptom of a much more serious issue with the age of your fleet at 20.25 years. The ambulance fleet, the average age is 9 years. You're doing tremendous with your ambulance program, but ambulances are cheaper to buy than fire trucks. The way they're turning the ambulances over and replacing them, we just put them on a 9-year replacement cycle. But interesting what we were able to do, again, as a cost avoidance for the city and taxpayers. We're going to buy an ambulance. We're going to use it for 10 years. We are going to take the body off and re-chassis it on another chassis. And that represents about a $200,000 cost avoidance for the city by doing that. And we get twice the life out of the body. The chassis go before the bodies. And so in an ambulance, you have 3 ambulances in a complete cycle of doing that. That's a realization of about $600,000 saved over 20 years. I think you need to see the fire department for what they are. They are fiscally responsible members of your community here as well. And many of them live here and pay taxes here. And so they're kind of in tune with this, which I found impressive being from out of town coming in doing this work. In the first due area, there are places where the ladder truck could not gain clear access to all 4 sides of the structure. This increases the reliance on portable ladders, allowing fire personnel to gain access to the upper floors or use them as a means of escape in the event of deteriorating conditions. The current truck, which has been replaced, was equipped with 166 feet of ground ladders. You need far more in this community. There was a serious fire in a senior center in Massachusetts within the past year. 80 ladder rescues were made in that. Most of them were portable ladders. You have severe exposure here to that very similar kind of fire with the senior facilities that you have here within the city. So this is really serious stuff. It involves liability not only for the fire department and the firefighters, but it involves liability here within the city itself. One of the things that happened in that fire is that the units were completely understaffed for years, had known to be understaffed. The fire department asked for staffing. The city refused. And then finally, when we had this big fire and several people died and all these ladder rescues were made, lo and behold, we found money to fully staff the units as required by the national standard. Under the current replacement schedule that we've presented here, all apparatus will be replaced by 2042. One of the things that we had the fire department do, they have too many units and not enough people. So one of the recommendations was to combine the services of the rescue squad unit and the ladder company. So we're going to run the ladder company as a 2-piece, 2-equipped company with 1 truck staffed with 1 set of firefighters. So we've reduced staffing and we've reduced acquisition and maintenance costs by reducing the fleet by 1 unit on that account. If you follow this as written and on time, the current fleet would be reduced by 3 units by 2038. And that would be also fiscally responsible. The ladder truck was used sparingly in the last few years in consultation with the fire department. The running order has been changed, and there are going to be new procedures and SOGs. The fire department has remedied that. Before any apparatus is purchased, there needs to be an informed conversation about the mission of the vehicle. Buying something bigger, longer, that can hold everything is not in the best interest of this city, the fire departments, or its residents. At well over $2 million, the new aerial apparatus should have the mission identified, the equipment required for the mission, and the staffing before any vehicle is specified. With the unprecedented prices and the lead times associated with purchasing apparatus, it's important now to reevaluate operations, rescue requirements for the future of the city and the fire department. There were several units that were overweight, and it's interesting in doing this work, about a third of the trucks that we touch in any given year doing fleet evaluations across this country, a third of them are overweight. And some of them are even brand new trucks that were misengineered that we catch before they're put in service. The fire department, much to their willingness to fix all this, hired me to do an apparatus purchasing seminar on Saturday where we actually discussed how the best way and purchasing strategies and bid bonds, performance bonds, how to fund some of this stuff, how to specify it. So you have a number of firefighters that have been trained in that discipline now. And although it wasn't a particularly part of our charge, I would be remiss as a fire service professional if not to tell you the current fire station needs to be replaced. Sorry to break the news to you, folks, but it needs to be replaced. It's outlived its useful life cycle. As time goes on, you're going to need more facilities for 24-hour fire service career personnel, and you're going to need to house bigger trucks, and those facilities just aren't up to snuff. It doesn't really represent a current day firehouse. The staffing was found to be okay. On page 13, we did the number of total fire calls. In 22, you had 23 working fires. You had a total of 201 personnel show up, and so there were 8.7 personnel at building fires. So basically, under the NFPA standard, putting 4 on each truck, you could basically move 2 out of the numerous trucks that you have. In 2024, that staffing level went from 8.7 to 8.5 on average for the 28 fires that you had in 2024. It used to be fire departments like Cedarburg would have all these trucks, and in the 80s, they would fill all of them up with volunteers. We needed all these trucks, okay? The reality is the whole matrix of firefighting and response has now changed. We're looking at departments that can perhaps during the day, during the week, staff 2, and then to make up the requirement of you need to have 20 firefighters on scene to properly and safely start structural firefighting. And so in order to do that, we have to have others staff 1 truck. And so it doesn't matter what it says on the side. What it matters is that it has staffing and that it's going to come here in a quick amount of time to be useful to you. So the fire chief may say that the Washington Inn may need to have the response of 4 engines and 2 ladders. Well, they're not going to come all from Cedarburg, but what we need to do is have that equipment on the road right away to have that initial response and to have a safe firefighting environment. EMS rescue makes up a majority of your calls on page 14. In 2024, there were 1,302 EMS calls, and there was 273 fire calls. I know I don't have a lot of time. I would like you, if you have the report, to turn to page 51. And in page 51 of the report, we start off in the year, and we run this out to 2060. So this gives you a perfect tool, basically a blueprint of how you're going to fund apparatus and ambulances in this city moving forward. This plan is not negotiable. Okay, this needs to be done on time as written, period. Any deviations to this whatsoever will be costly. The fire department isn't going to come ask for a new piece of equipment until it appears on this graph. And know that when this piece of equipment appears here, that there has to be a funding mechanism within the city government to fund it. In 2026, what did we do this year? We bought a used ladder truck. We bought a used engine. We bought a new pickup truck for the brush unit. And we're going to order a new tractor-drawn aerial or an aerial straight truck. Again, even though that's ordered this year, payment would not be due until probably around 2030, give or take. In 2027, we're taking delivery of a new ambulance to replace 151. In 2030, we're going to replace truck 159 and squad 153 with a new ladder when it comes into town. In 2031, we're going to replace ambulance 152 with a new ambulance. In 2033, we're going to re-chassis ambulance 150 after 9 years of service and put a new chassis under that box. And that will represent the first 200,000 plus cost avoidance for the city. In 2038, we're going to replace used engine 161. Oh, I'm sorry. In 2034, we're going to replace engine 162 with a new engine after 25 years of service. In 2036, we're going to re-chassis 151. In 2038, we're going to replace engine 161 and tender 164 with a new engine tender. We're going to reduce the fleet again from 2 units down to 1. That will be our second or third fleet reduction. 2040, we're going to re-chassis ambulance 152 after 9 years of service. 2042, we're going to replace engine 163 with a new engine after 26 years of service. 2043, we're going to replace ambulance 150 after 10 years of service. 2045, we're going to take the ladder truck that you buy in 2030 and we're going to send it out for a rehabilitation. Again, this is another cost avoidance tool for the city where you're going to send the truck, get it updated with any new technologies, and then put it back in service for another 10 to 15 years. Basically, that rehab should cost less than half of the cost of a new one, which would represent a significant cost avoidance. 46, we're going to replace ambulance 151 after 10 years. 2048, we're going to replace engine 162 with a new engine after 14 years. We moved the schedule up there. So engine 162 will be replaced in 2048 at year 14. And you say, well, this guy just told me that they could keep him 20 years, maybe 25 years. What's he doing? We have put in there the fact that the fire department will become busier, will run more calls, and this is a cushion that will then at that time in the city keep a used unit. The 2014 will stay in service as a reserve so that as other units go out of service, firefighters, particularly if their career, would have something to ride on. So we thought that that was a prudent approach here. 2050, replace 152 after 10 years of chassis service, but 20 years on the body. 2052, we're going to re-chassis 150. 2053, that engine tender that we bought after 15 years of service, we're going to send that unit out to get rehabbed and get another 10 years out of that unit. And so this goes down the line, not to bore you. This is a good plan. It's fiscally responsible, and we need everybody's buy-in. We need the fire department to do this. We need you folks to fund it. It's just that simple. Any questions or comments from this body?
So are you taking notes? Yes, somebody, I know that somebody up here has some questions or comments.
I do.
Okay, go for it.
Thank you. I did take notes. You were watching.
I was.
How are equipment needs funded in other communities in Wisconsin? And maybe this is a question for Miko, or maybe it's a question for you.
Okay, go, you could start first and then,
A
I'll
lot
fill
of
in-
times it's through debt service is how that is funded.
I think some of the volunteer places try to raise money. There are grants sometimes, but most of it is provided with tax dollars. Now, we're having a terrible time right now in Pennsylvania because as people have gotten spoiled here with not having paid for fire protection, so too in Pennsylvania, many of those departments were flipping chickens and fish to provide fuel for their trucks and stuff. And that's all coming crashing down along with the staffing. So, yeah, it's just a nationwide reckoning of the modern day fire service.
So not unique to our community.
Oh, not even close. Oh, my God, no, no. In fact, with your volunteers here, and you have staved it off a long time. I'm gonna be blunt and honest with you. You've been living on house money for about 15 years. Many communities like yours would have been having this discussion 15 or 20 years ago. So through their generosity and hard work, they got you this far. You're fortunate.
Okay.
I do want to add in regards to the funding. So the pieces of equipment that were done this year, those are all funded by Fireman's Inc. So there is no taxpayer funding for any one of those pieces of equipment. So thank you to Fireman's Inc. for doing that for the city.
Yes, thank you. The companies that are under review for prices, are they a factor in the estimates for our cost and timelines?
Well, I think it depends who you buy your fire trucks from. They could be. Okay, one of the three companies that are presently under review is Rosenbauer of America, the Rev Group, which is seen to buy up about half the fire truck manufacturers that kind of put us where we were because there used to be a lot of competition. And now there isn't so much anymore. And then Oshkosh Pierce. Those were the three that were called before Congress.
Okay. One of my questions was, are there avenues to assist with cost? You already addressed that and talked about that there are grants, but predominantly taxpayer dollars is what
Oh,
I'm.
there's grants, and then if you do this and you re-chassis vehicles and you rehab vehicles, when we ask, there's significant savings to be derived from that. And we're very proud of coming up with unique and interesting ways. I just did a fire department in Long Beach Island, New Jersey. We were able to get them what ultimately would have been about a $2.5 million fire truck. They bought it for 150, and they're going to order a new chassis, and they're going to rebody that aerial and the body on a new chassis in 2030, and that will be carried as a 2030 truck. So the cost avoidance to that community was about 1.3 million. So we pride ourselves at EVR in finding ways to get the community the best fire protection they can and get the best bang out of the buck that they spend on this stuff. It's difficult. I know. I feel sorry for you really, because you got to be like in shock when you hear some of the prices that are going on here. And it's part of the reason for the investigation. We did a tanker, an engine tender back in 2019 for a department in Indiana. They took delivery in 2019. It cost $808,000. We took the exact same spec almost, bought another tanker for Longwood, Pennsylvania, and went to contract in February of 24, and that cost 1.57 million. It wasn't even 5 years yet, and it doubled in price for the same identical truck.
More?
Just two more bullets.
Oh, no, that's good. That's good.
One of my questions I think is addressed in the report, and that was, are these replacement trucks going to fit in the current stations?
Yes, we made sure of that. I'm fairly like anal retentive about making sure we measure and remeasure and measure. Yeah. Guess what the latest buzz is online? A New York Fire Department, they bought a $1.8 million ladder truck, got it home, and thought that the village was going to redo their station, and the village said no, and by the way, you can sell your new ladder. Because it won't fit. We don't want to have a headline like that in the national news on Cedarburg. No, ma'am. Not on my watch.
How much was the used ladder truck that you guys, they just bought?
They got a truck for, first off, it's a completely different situation. But they got a truck from a fire apparatus broker for about 150,000. And then they're going to re-chassis that. For the type of truck that we're asking you to buy here, that's not an option, or I would have put it in there.
Did you have one more?
No
Nope.
more questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
What else up here?
Well, I'm talking about didn't you talk about buying a used ladder truck?
That's already here. Yes.
Okay, and how much was that one is what I'm asking.
That was, what did you, and spend with all the repairs and everything? About 150,000.
And we expect that the useful life of that is 4 years?
5.
Well,
And
I
it'll
guess
probably be more than that, and it will have some resale. The only reason that was purchased is because the current truck was out of service and would have been it would have been not cost effective to put any money in it at 37 years old. And so that truck was purchased to get the city and the fire department relief and give you time to accumulate money. And it buys you 5 years until we have to take action.
And what is the typical useful life of a brand new truck?
The NFPA said it's 20 years in frontline service, 25 with 2 to 5 years in reserve.
And that's a $2.5 million investment?
Okay. But what we did in the report here, like I just explained, is that truck is going to go out in 15 years and get a rehab. And rather than sending it out to pasture at year 20, we're looking to get 25 or 30 years out of that truck after that rehab. So we're going to invest in the rehab at year 15, we're going to invest half the money or less of a new one to get that another 15 years for you. So we're going to increase the useful life of that truck.
But without speculating like what that rehab would cost, because that's a long way down the line.
Oh, I wouldn't even begin to guess.
Yeah, and I'm not asking you to, but is what I'm looking at here is $150,000 for a truck that's gonna last 5 years or 2.20 years. It looks to me like the math would suggest that we should just buy this used truck, 5 years, buy another used truck for 150,000. Why wouldn't we consider something like that?
Again, this was purposefully done as a stopgap measure. This is a once in a lifetime deal. Used trucks are relatively hard to find right now because of the lead times. People are buying them up, paying extraordinarily large amounts of money. You were very fortunate, and not to blow our own horns here, but you were fortunate to engage us that have connections that were able to come up with trucks that weren't available nationally yet that we could snatch before they got on the market, and you folks had to pay a lot of money. So you're really extraordinarily fortunate. Go ahead.
Just to add on to that too, I think to more accurately answer the question, what we provided was a stopgap of the current service you're offering now. What we're recommending is to combine the rescue service and the ladder truck service. That type of vehicle, that's not done across the country. And so that type of vehicle you would have to buy new. Those are not available. If you notice in the fleet replacement plan, we don't replace or get rid of the rescue squad yet, because that vehicle that we got used won't replace that. So if we then spend more money on another used rescue squad, now we're chasing those two purchases. So taking that and looking at the side by side of ladder truck and ladder truck is not an accurate depiction, because we're taking ladder truck and then ladder truck and rescue squad combined vehicle as a replacement. So if you doubled that number and did the same math, that would be a more accurate description of what we've recommended in the report.
All right, that might be the case, but even if I do the math with this 150,000 over 5 years, and even that comes up to less than half of the 2.5 million.
Yeah,
So
the-
even if this is the deal of the century that we could never hope to replace, man, even if we pay double that,
The reliability is the other thing, right? When you buy a new fire truck, you're getting
Okay.
reliability, you're offsetting the maintenance costs with warranty work. There's a lot of other things that come in with that vehicle purchase, and I understand the used part. The other thing is now the effort and the work, right? We're taking this department that has a very high workload for the small number of staff that is on there. The required NFPA training, the required NFPA certification of the vehicles, maintenance, training, recruitment, retention, personnel, all of the things that come into running a fire department. And now they have to do a nationwide search pretty much every year because the number of vehicles you have in your fleet to then find a used vehicle that would be suitable to their operations. The vehicles that we recommended, they have to do modifications to the vehicles to then try matching their operations. And that would be repeated every 5 years. I don't think that's a fair ask of the members of the fire department.
What's your new rescue cost?
It's about 1.6 mil.
Okay, so what we are doing in 5 years is taking a one.
Can you just speak into the microphone, just because of the people online? I
We're
think
doing in 5 years is taking a $1.6 million rescue and a $2.8 million ladder, and we're combining them together, and you have the cost avoidance of 1.6 million. That's another deal of the century, sir.
in the rescue, what, can you, you're using a lot of vernacular that I don't really know.
Okay, a
What is a
rescue
rescue?
trucks is a big box that carries a catch of tools and equipment that are used for swift water rescue, auto rescue, truck rescue, trench rescue, whatever rescue capabilities that the fire department has. So it's a good deal of equipment. So what happened? This whole idea was born years ago in California when they passed proposition, I think it was 13. And it said that there was be no increase in property taxes for a period of time and that there was going to be a 3% cap. Well, it sent all the career fire departments there quickly trying to reinvent themselves. And so the decision was made to take a rescue truck with all this stuff in it, a ladder truck, and we're going to take these tractor-drawn aerials that have compartments going down each
I'm
side,
talking to the microphone.
each side of the trailer, and we're going to fill them up with equipment, and we're going to take the staffing of 2 units, the rescue and the ladder. We're going to take the vehicle acquisition of the rescue and the ladder. We're going to take the maintenance and insurance of the rescue and the ladder, and we're going to combine it into 1 unit with that purchase price and that series of insurance and maintenance. And then we're going to staff that with not 2 companies of personnel, but just 1.
Okay.
And so that's where it gets us to this recommendation in the
And
report.
that, a rescue, the current rescue we have is what number is that? We have a current rescue?
153.
153. Oh, squad 153, that
Right.
would be, okay.
Some places call squads, some places call SB, but that's like the longer terms.
I worked in a city in New York for 32 years. We called them rescue companies. Same truck, different vernacular.
Given the new financial realities that you alluded to, do you see more communities teaming up with some of these huge purchases that are right, right next to one another and
I don't think that's the
mean-
case, but what I think is going to happen by virtue of the economics, and it already has started to happen because our work's reflected that. I'm going up to Connecticut next, outside of in a place called Lincoln, Connecticut, and they took 4 fire departments and combined them into 1 fire district. Okay, I'm going up to make sense of the fleet, and you can bet your bottom dollar that all those trucks that were amalgamated from those 4 departments aren't going to be there when EVR gets done writing the report. Okay, so, and that was driven by just staffing and cost. So like I alluded to earlier, you're going to see different fire department activity around here. you already have seen your neighbor get rid of their ladder truck. I don't know how they can do it, and I don't know what the insurance service office is going to say when they come in and evaluate their,
What neighbor was that?
Thiels,
Thiensville?
Gainesville?
Thiesville. Yeah, they just sold their ladder and
But I think because they recently combined with
They
Macwan.
with Another.
And that's.
they have agreed to buy another one?
No, they combined with
Another
Mequon,
state.
so it's Southern Ozaki now instead
Okay,
of just.
all right.
Mequon.
So they have ladder service.
Right.
Okay, I was gonna say, what are you doing? But yeah, you're going to see more of that as time goes on. There are some places that are going to countywide departments, like in Montgomery County in Maryland, where they've taken all those little departments and they've amalgamated them into a career structure, and then they're buying engines and trucks and stuff based on a county model. I think that's where we are here even now, and why we're here is just because of the staffing levels and the fiscal. Something had to happen.
Yeah, thank you. You know, when we talked about, you weren't here, but we talked about the fire station, police, public safety building, last meeting or a few meetings ago. And at that time, I said that, I mean, just the reality is what you just spoke about, right? This, fire departments overall, I think, are ripe for consolidation. We are seeing a lot of the examples that you pointed out. They're happening in large communities in southeastern Wisconsin. I mean, communities much larger than ourselves merging because of the three things you touched on today, right? It's the cost of the equipment, it's the transition from a volunteer model to a paid-on-call model, and then in our case, we also have the need for a new station layered on top of that. So we've got those three things, those three realities facing us, and you add them all together, and the costs of which are not something that we can absorb as the community our size. So what, you know, this, from my perspective, and I know, you know, not a lot of people want to hear this, but the reality is this needs to, in my mind, this needs to become a higher priority for us. I mean, we've got to go down this road of exploring this. These $2.5 million ladders that go out for, I mean, I'm sure they'll go out more. I'm sure, I mean, our ladder truck has been out 13 times in the last 3 years. Divide that by how much these things cost, and that's gonna, that's a lot per, and I know it went out, it didn't go out as often as it should have and whatever else, but whatever, we had 5 building fires last year, right? Maybe this goes out for a lot, I don't know a lot about that, but the reality is that the severity of the financial situation dictates that we've got to look at options, Miko, I think, not 5 years from now, not 10 years from now. We got to look at these now.
I would agree with everything you said with the options and looking around. The caution to that whole thought process would be when we look at ISO and we look at the recommendations, they're looking at distances and protection. So for a ladder truck, yeah, I'm going. So when ISO looks at it, it's Insurance Services Office, and they grade communities, and that's pretty much the only entity that will go around and provide recommendations and grading for fire department. Not all insurance companies use them, but most do. And for the commercial side, many use those. And so your rating right now is a 3 out of 10, which is good because 1 is the best. The problem is removing that ladder truck, you would plummet that rating very low. And so some of the commercial businesses would feel that in their insurance ratings. Again, not all of them. And the way that it would affect them would vary greatly. And we couldn't sit here and make that judgment. But 3 miles is what they credit a ladder truck for commercial buildings. So that becomes difficult when you combine resources, like them getting rid of their ladder truck sounds great. It's less money, but that affects other things too. Now, is that we're saying everyone needs a ladder truck? That's not what we're saying. But you have to understand that making those decisions have very vast other sides too, right? And so even engine coverage at 5 miles, after 5 miles, ISO does not recommend or does not recognize the fire department anymore. So if you're past 5 miles from a fire station, you're a 10. You don't get fire department coverage. So as credit, yeah. From the insurance's viewpoint. So again, Is that going to be every house ever? There could be houses that fall under that, and you're not going to build a fire station for 4 houses, right? That's not realistic. And again, goes back to the financial piece that you're talking about. But all of that picture needs to be looked at. We can combine 6 firehouses, but the need for 3 ladder trucks could still very well be there, and you might not lose that, right? So I think it's a very wise thing to look into, but with caution, if that makes sense.
And just to be clear, we spent a good, Joey, and Blake, a good 1.5 to 2 years looking at Mequon or Southern Ozaki and, talking with them and looking at combining services and where we could or would end up out there. At this point in time, we're not there. We looked north towards Grafton. You guys correct me where I'm wrong. And Joey, why don't you come up? Sorry. I just want to clarify for anybody who's listening online that we've had these conversations and we will continue to have them, and we need to continue to have them. And I think most of us who have been involved with the conversations recognize that there will be consolidation in our future. I mean, there's no question about that.
Yeah, there was conversations that was had with Southern Ozaki. There was conversations that were had with Ozaki Central. Southern Ozaki was between us, Thiensville, and Mequon, as has been talked about before. And there also was conversations between the 4, Saukville, Port Washington, Grafton, and ourselves. So there was conversations before the referendum even occurred. So there has been conversations. So to make it sound like we've never discussed that or gone down that before is incorrect.
I apologize if I implied that in any fashion, but the realities have changed since those conversations have been had, right? I mean, the gentleman was just sharing anecdotes about fire truck prices going up 100% in 3 years. That has changed from when those conversations last happened, right? The pricing of these things has accelerating pace. So that's, as things change and circumstances change, then this stuff's got to be kind of brought up again, unfortunately.
One of the things that were discussed while we were here originally was some kind of master plan to lay this all out. And I think that may be the next step for you to consider, is to have some kind of master planning that we could do. And that's the time and the distances, station locations, where apparatus are, what are the response times, what are the response distances, how does it affect your insurance service office rating? I think that's and sounding and just listening to you very intently and what you have in mind, I think that's the next step for you. Whether you hire us or somebody else like us, but that would be the next fire department consulting that I would consider that would be useful.
Anyone else up here?
Yeah,
Chris?
so just to be clear, Joey and Blake, you guys have already bought these new buses.
Foundation bottom.
All
Okay,
3 are.
the
have
foundation,
been
right.
purchased,
And you
yes.
ordered the tractor drawn? Did not order that yet, okay. I guess just my comments, would be is I sympathize that volunteerism has, as wonderful as Cedarburg benefits from volunteerism, it has dwindled a lot. But what happens then to what the fire department still does in terms of fundraising if we take on the cost? If we take on the cost of these, buying the new apparatuses, what happens to Fireman's Park then if they're not using that for fundraising to purchase vehicles?
Yeah. I mean, those discussions that we're having with the fire department right now.
Okay.
Is what is the future of Fireman's Inc.? How do we fund these vehicles? So those are ongoing discussions that I'm having with Chief and his team right now, and we'll be coming to the council at a future meeting.
Okay.
And just because we stopped or, we didn't combine with Southern Ozaki does not mean that we didn't look forward. And I'm not justifying. I just want everybody to be clear out there who might be hearing this for the first time, because we have people now who are live streaming. When we made the decision to stay independent or to combine ourselves only with the town of Cedarburg. Correct me where I'm wrong, Miko, or you guys. We went the route of saying, we know that all of these things are in front of us. We know that we're losing the volunteers. We know that we went to paid on call. We know we're going to have to do more than paid on call. We're continually increasing our staff. We know that we're doing that at probably a slower rate than we'd like to do, but we've got a plan to do that. And there is a plan out there that, as you know, addressing Jim's concerns, that building is a major hitch in this whole thing. And if we combine, I think we are still going to we are going to really need a building out on Wauwatosa Road, because that's probably the only way. I mean, we're going to need a building for
But the
Cedarburg.
building presumably then would be funded with whoever will be serviced by the building, which would presumably be a lot bigger than just the city and the town of
I don't know that
Cedarburg.
that's the case,
Oh,
Jim, the way
well-
these have been set up. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
would
know.
Imagine, otherwise why would you go down that path if you're not sharing costs with the?
It's another conversation. I mean, it's something that I can't answer.
It's a negotiated item. Okay, a lot of these, amalgamations that occur, a lot of these consolidations are, people sitting down with,
Yeah,
with a clear vision
this is
of
what we
what's
have,
going
this
to
is
go
what you
on.
have, and how do we
Yeah.
combine?
How are we going to survive and make it best for everybody? And we've been involved in a lot of those discussions because we've done this work, and kind of mediated, like, you know, everybody's not going to get your way here. Okay, everybody's got to give a little to get a little, but ultimately we're able to come to some kind of consensus as to what's going to be best for each entity, the fire department, and more importantly, the citizens that are paying for all this.
And just, I don't want to keep going here. I want to, open it up if anybody else up here has a question. Otherwise, we'll move on the agenda. But as other departments, as we sat in those meetings for Southern Ozaki, what they were looking at and what we were looking at is what assets do we have? What's the I mean, we weren't, you know what I'm saying? We weren't listing everything, but they were listing basically what assets do we have? What are we all going to come out of this with? What buildings do we have? And so it was more along the line of what do we have that we can combine and then go from there. So anybody else up here has something? Bobby, do you want to say anything out there?
No, I'm good.
Okay, thanks. That's amazing.
Mayor, if I may,
You're gonna cut me off
this
As I pick on Bobby.
This tool here is extremely valuable to the fire department as well as myself
Absolutely.
and our finance department as we continue making a master plan, as was stated, right? Whether it's staying on our own or whether we look at consolidation, this is extremely helpful information as we continue those discussions. And we will. We will have discussions with our neighbors. We'll have discussions with the fire department. So I definitely want to thank you and your team for putting this together.
Thank
I
you.
want to thank the fire department with working with them on this because it is a valuable tool for us.
And if I just pile on a little bit there, I mean, this was a very thorough report and incredibly well done and very, very helpful from my perspective. So
I agree with
money
that.
well spent. Thank you for all your efforts here. It was really, really good.
I agree with that. Thank you.
Just honestly, we do a lot of this. And I was really looking forward to coming back here because this is one of the best fire departments and the nicest people that we've had to work with in quite some time. So this was really a wonderful job for us to have. The next one, when I go to Rhode Island, already just by the political winds, it's not going to be like this.
Thanks to our guys. Thanks to our
Whether you
guys.
like it or not, it's on the record. Yep.
Thanks to our guys who've worked so hard on this. I know in particular, Bill, Joey, I would assume Blake has done one or two things maybe. The chief, and others I know, but thank you all because I know that this was time consuming and as Jim said, it's going to be incredibly valuable. So thank you. That's it? You guys? Okay, thank you so much. We're going to go to new business, which is review, discussion, and possible approval Hey, guys, you know what, guys? I'm just gonna, as I always do, I'm gonna ask you to take the conversations downstairs because I don't want to close the door. It gets too warm in here. Thanks. Okay. Again, 9A, new business review, discussion and possible approval on the request of applicant property owner Pioneer Real Estate Development LLC in care of Mike LaRosa for a CSM approval to adjust the lot line location between his two parcels located on Pioneer Road, and it's zoned M2 General Manufacturing.
Very straightforward. We've got two lots already in existence by certified survey map. They want to adjust the location of the common lot line between them by 7 feet, move it 7 feet south. Both of those remnant lots will still comply fully with the minimum required lot size and lot width for the zoning district, M2 general manufacturing classification. Both lots have at least 30 feet of frontage on a public street. So all of those standard platting requirements for this property have been met. To that extent, I have no objections to county council following the recommendation of the Plan Commission toward adoption of this map, subject to the couple of conditions that are listed here. 1, 2, and 3 have to do with just errors on the signature pages of the map itself. Item number 4, city engineer review and approval as to accuracy and closure, that's been done. So just really 1, 2, and 3 would be the conditions to fulfill.
Unless somebody's got a
I
question.
mean, it's up to you know, make a motion to approve. I'm so sorry, I lost this now.
okay.
Approving the CSM for the lot line between the addresses noted in the agenda, and also including numbers 1, 2, 3 of the planner recommendations suggested.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion, a couple seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mary, thank you. Okay, we're gonna go to 9B, which is discussion and possible action on review of the 2025 annual stormwater compliance report, and Mike Weiser will take this.
Good evening, everybody. So as part of the city's municipal stormwater permit, the DNR requires that we submit a annual compliance report. Also mandates that there's confirmation that this report has been taken into the governing body. So this report is submitted electronically, and a draft is included in your council packet. Basically, our permit imposes 8 conditions on us. 1, implement a stormwater public education and outreach program. 2, inform the public of activities required under the permit. 3, maintain a program to detect and remove illicit discharges. 4, erosion and sediment control for construction sites. 5, monitor post-construction water quality controls. 6, sustain a water pollution prevention program. 7, achieve compliance with suspended solids and phosphorus reduction goals. And then 8, maintain and update city storm sewer mapping. Just some accomplishments from 2025. Our staff cleaned 1,858 catch basin sumps, yielding a total of 80 tons of sediment. 40 erosion control permits were issued, mostly to new home sites. In the engineering front desk area, we provide a full display rack of stormwater related information, and we assisted AECom with illicit discharge investigations. Downtown streets were swept, and residential streets. Downtown streets swept bi-weekly and residential streets bi-weekly, yielding a total of 25 tons of sediment. We collected and composted leaves, brush, and yard waste. 20 new catch basins were installed with 2-foot sumps, and they incorporate the dump no waste drains to stream logo on the cast iron curb head. We participated in the Sweetwater Respect Our Waters program for Metropolitan Milwaukee. And then we also finally sent letters to BMP owners, largely homeowners associations, asking for recent inspection and maintenance records, and informing them of their responsibility that they need to inspect their BMPs every 5 years. In 2025, we did receive our new permit, which is on a 5-year permit term. So as of now, our stormwater system does not provide reduction of TSS and total phosphorus that meets the TMDLs. So future projects will likely be needed to work towards that goal. In this permit term, it doesn't look like we will need projects to update the TSS and total phosphorus due to projects that have been completed over the time since our last permit expired in 2018. So at this time, the DNR seems somewhat understanding and is only expecting progress towards goals rather than compliance at this time. But compliance would be ultimately quite expensive and, in my opinion, somewhat even impossible, but but it's kind of just working towards it. So I guess, are there any questions?
Anything concerning at all from your perspective in this? Anything that we should be thinking about that you didn't touch on right there, Mike? I'm sure you probably did, but.
Yeah, I mean, so our target reduction for TSS is 77%. We're currently at 36%. Our target for total phosphorus reduction is 81%, and we're at 26%. So we did a report back in 2019 that came up with those numbers, and it looked at 15 projects that could be done to help that. And that would spend a total of 12.5 million in 2019 dollars. And we would not even get halfway.
Really?
So that's why I kind of view it as, I mean, we can do what we need to do to show improvement, but I don't know that it's just the way we're laid out, older city with curbs, everything established. I don't know how we're going to find the space to put the ponds in or, you know, the different BMPs that are needed to, you know, hit those goals. But as long as it stays that the DNR is just making you make progress, it'd be okay.
Does your permit require analytical sampling and analytical of stormwater? You catch samples and send it to lab and get updated results? Or
We
TSS?
do the illicit discharge, those samples, but
Just the illicit discharges, but not routine.
mm,
Okay. So you don't have any current data on TSS and phosphorus loading?
we had one done last year for a little change that was done to Willowbrook, but no, we haven't.
But not a comprehensive for the whole city?
No.
Okay.
We
Nor
did that in
required.
2019, but it was no actual, I don't believe it was sampling. It was just kind of mapping and what land uses were, and then what the existing efficiency of different BMPs was. You know.
Anybody else for Mike?
Make a motion, Mayor, if that's all right.
Perfect.
Make a motion to approve the 2025 annual stormwater compliance report.
Second.
Motion a second, all in favor?
Bye.
One's opposed. Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, everybody.
We're going to go to Craig, our new wastewater treatment superintendent. I'm
Hey, Craig.
thinking this is the first time you've presented in front of us?
Yep, first
Okay.
time. So good evening. So the Water Recycling Center is requesting approval to line 2 sanitary sewer pipes along South Washington Avenue. These pipe segments are located near Carriage Trace and Concord Street. Both sections have been identified as good candidates for cured in place pipelining. Because of their location, replacing these pipes through traditional excavation would be significantly more difficult. Lining allows us to rehabilitate the existing pipe from within, extending its service life. With the South Washington Avenue Road project underway soon, this is an ideal opportunity to address these sewer lines before the roadway improvements are fully completed. Completing the lining work now helps prevent the need for future street disturbance and protects the city's investment in the road project. The total cost to line these 2 pipe segments is $17,400, and we are requesting approval to add this work to the existing 2026 CIPP lining project. I would be happy to answer any questions you would have for me.
Anybody?
He was so thorough that I don't have any questions.
More about it than you do.
Well, that's not saying a lot. Hopefully he knows a lot more than that, but
Yeah.
thank you, Craig. I'll make a motion.
Good, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the lining of the two sanitary pipes on South Washington Avenue, at a level not to exceed $17,400.
Motion and second, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Those
Thank you.
opposed? Thank you. Craig, thank you. Good job. on your first time out. Just wait till we really grill you. Okay, we've got 9D, which is discussion and possible action on approving renewal of the Quadricycle Pedal Tavern application for North 48.
The route has not changed and PD has no issues on this, so we're just looking for approval.
I'll make a motion to renew the quadricycle application for North 48.
second.
We got a motion and a second. Any comments or statements? Just, the mayor has one that she says every time we renew it is just make certain, please, Jordan and all, that you monitor the behaviors on there to make certain that they're always appropriate. I know you have a driver on there who can do that. And for the most part, they are, and just once in a while, you need to monitor it. So we say it every year. We've got a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
No one's opposed? Okay, thank you. And this one's really quick.
I don't know about this one.
I know.
A lot of discussion.
9D is discussion and possible action on the action of the mayoral appointment of Michael O'Keefe to the Public Storage Commission. We have actually 2 vacancies on there right now, and Mike had approached me and said he was interested, and he spent a lot of time on that commission. And I talked to Mike Weiser, and he thought that was a great addition. My one concern is with former council member Rick Verhollen, with Robert Simpson and Mike O'Keefe, it might be hard for us to maintain control on the on the board, but we'll handle it. It's my only
Yeah.
reservation.
Throw me under the bus when I can't be there in person.
What'd you say?
Throw me under the bus when I can't be there in person.
Yeah, I know. I would have done it anyway.
Well, I should have been there in person, but there was a mishap.
Well, every time I see Mike, which is relatively frequently, I encourage him to get back involved. So I'm really happy to see this. Pleased to make a motion if no one else has anything to say. So I'll make a motion to approve Mike O'Keefe to the Public Works and Sewerage Commission.
Second.
Motion a second, all in favor?
Aye.
No one's opposed? Okay, thank you. I'll let Mike know, and he will be at our
He
meeting.
was very worried about that.
I know. He will be at our meeting this Thursday, I think, then, whoever's running it, or
Tracy.
Tracy's doing it. Okay. Consent agenda, unless anybody's got a question or a comment, can we have a motion to approve?
Second.
We got a motion, a second, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
And no one's opposed, great, thank you. Reports of city officers, department head,
Nothing to add.
nothing, thank you, and anything from a council member?
I was hoping our administrator would tell us when Taco Bell is opening.
Oh.
As soon as South Wash starts up.
Oh, great, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, unfortunately, they've had some delays on getting some supplies and things like that, so I don't have exactly.
You don't have a date?
Yes.
They were power washing the driveways the other day, and I thought that was
That's
getting
nice.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing from other council members? And the mayor has nothing. So Mark?
So, I'd like to make a motion